over on TikTok, I made a commitment to provide an overview of what the week of and game day for Super Bowl is really like. If you've never had a chance to experience it, I can explain what that's all about. I've had the very good fortune to go to 18 Super Bowls. So grab your cup of coffee. I'm going to move into the other room and I will tell you what it's been all about. Okay, I've got my coffee. So let's talk about the game day, well, week of. Let's talk about week of and then game day. And again, so my experience is kind of focused around the fact that my husband worked in sports PR. And so he was working for the league during the week of and game day with international media. That was his area of responsibility. And so for us, what that meant was Michael really needed to hit Super Bowl City on the Sunday before the game. So most of the media are coming in on the Sunday, if not Monday, to get their credential. And there's two credentials that media get, just as an aside. One is for week of, and that's, whoever's there to get, interviews and go to Radio Row and all those things. But also there's a separate credential for game day. And then obviously there's fewer people who are getting that credential. I'll have to get Michael to do some stories because he's got some great, he's got great stories anyway, but there's been a lot of people who've just kind of showed up on the Friday looking for their game day credential, acting surprised that, somehow it's not there and you could just go print one for me. It doesn't work that way. So Sunday folks are starting to get in. Monday is probably like everybody's on the ground by Monday. And that's because Monday night is opening night. And that used to be really just a media event. And now it's been opened up to the public. They sell tickets to it. It's quite the spectacle. I've been going back and forth on whether or not I want to go this year. Part of me just feels like it's probably the last media opening night I would be going to. I suppose if there's another Super Bowl in New Orleans, then yes. If Michael's involved and, we want to do all those things again, then yes. But this is probably our last big Super Bowl experience. So I probably should go just because why not? But for me, because I have anxiety, why not? I have a lot of why not. I have a lot of reasons why not, and I use them all the time. So then Tuesday day, the media center it's not hopping. I would say Wednesday and Thursday, the media center seems to be the most busy. Radio Row, lots of players. Thursday is the press conferences for the head coaches, the halftime show. So Tuesday night though is the media party. That has been at some amazing venues. Here in New Orleans, last time we had a Super Bowl here, it was at Mardi Gras World. I think it will be again this year. And the ticketing is really limited, right? If you've got a credential for week of and game day, that generally acts as your credential to get into the party. So it's not like it's open to the public or anything. And I have some great memories from those media parties. And it's always a question of what day do I fly in? Because Michael's flying into the host city, by Sunday morning so that he can be there. But for me, it used to be I wanted to be in town so that I could do the media party on Tuesday, but that always meant burning a lot of vacation time. And so it used to be that Thursday night was international media party. So I would try to come in on Thursday so I would at least get to go to that party because, it's, it wouldn't surprise you to hear that, going to parties is part of the fun. And, when your partner is working the event, it is very different. You're not partying when you're in the city. So Wednesday and Thursday night would generally be, particularly after they stopped the international media party, would be us catching up with friends, people in the media who we only see once a year. Friday night would quite often be just those few people from the NFL that we're quite close to that we would try to have dinner with. In fact, our very good friend who is with the NFL League office, we're actually having dinner with him the Friday night before. So if people come in on the Sunday, he'll be in on the Friday to do the things that he does, and then we're probably going to have dinner with him on Friday night. So I'm really looking forward to seeing you, Mike. So Friday night, in fact, needs to be quite under control because Saturday is the stadium walkthrough. So if you're in the media, you've gotten your game day credential on the Friday. everybody's kind of got what they need now in order to show up on the Sunday and have everything in place. Saturday's that stadium walkthrough for the PR team. That is, that's very, I'll use the word comprehensive. Michael would often come back and kind of lay out all the emergency exits for me and what to do if this thing happens or that thing happens. And, security has obviously become an even bigger issue over the years. We just had a terrorist attack here in New Orleans. So, I can't imagine it's going to be more intense than it already would have been, other than perhaps the footprint that they will close off around the stadium could be like enlarged. That's the only thing I could really think of, because I get there early, I've been sitting in my seat and watched snipers on the rafters get into position for the game. So yeah, it's a very serious thing, and I'm grateful for it. And so Saturday night, the host city is having, fireworks, and it's a big party. But when you're working the game the next day, that's not what you're doing. So, Michael on the Sunday morning would leave very early for the stadium. They'd be getting all of the, booths ready for the international media, and, just basically making sure they were ready for the day. I would get on a bus, the family and friends buses, to get to and from the city to the stadium. And this is to me, the mark for, again, this is just because of my personal experience. What makes a great Super Bowl city is whether or not everything is kind of co-located, because you get a better vibe when you've got the media center, the media, the fans, the NFL experience, and the stadium all kind of in one geographic area where people can walk to. It's why New Orleans is such a great Super Bowl city, one of the many reasons. But interestingly enough, it's why I thought Indianapolis was such a great Super Bowl city. I thought they did a great job in Indianapolis. I really loved it. Because normally you think of the best Super Bowl cities are the places you want to go to on vacation anyway. So where a city can differentiate itself is that walkability. Cold weather, everybody's like, well, why would you even have a Super Bowl in, a cold weather city? I think if you map out where a new stadium has been built relative to the Super Bowl being granted to them, it might have a correlation. So game day is always really, obviously, busy for Michael. Halftime, he would always come down and see me at my seats. I remember the last Super Bowl here in New Orleans when they lost power, and thinking, I've always told him to stop talking to me about all the things that could go wrong, because nothing ever goes wrong. And now I'm sitting in the dark and thinking maybe something's seriously gone wrong. It was just the pyrotechnics, the smoke from Beyonce's halftime show. So I'm sure we will not have a repeat of that this year. So game completes, and you leave the stadium. Back in the day, there used to be guys outside the stadium trying to buy your ticket stubs from you. It's funny, I'm not a saver of things as a general rule, but I did save most of my Super Bowl tickets, which are just in a tangled pile somewhere. I need to just put them on eBay, because I'm 58 years old at this point. I'm not sure really why I need to keep a hold of all of those things. And then Sunday night, back in the day, Michael used to have to go to the media center and start printing off all the quote sheets, and they'd have them in a big table with piles of paper where all the quotes were, and after the press conferences. So he used to have a really, really long Sunday night, but it got better as things got digitized. So we could actually meet up at 8 or 9 o'clock after the game and have a drink together, and he would finally be able to take a deep breath and relax. And we most often did not leave the Super Bowl city on the Monday because, as you can probably imagine, the airports are pretty intense. And so then we would just fly home Tuesday. So that's kind of the rhythm of Super Bowl for folks who are working the game, if you will, and in particular if they happen to be in PR. But this year we're going to be fans. That's all we have to do. We just need to be fans. Actually, I'm going to take that back. Michael's working on the Super Bowl host committee as the point person for international media, so he does have responsibilities. But it's not like working for the NFL. That's a totally different experience. In fact, if I could, I wouldn't say I'm retired. I'm semi-retired. I've retired from my last corporate job. I'm sure I'll work again. I just don't know what. If I could do one job, it would be to spend 1 year working for the person who is responsible for the Super Bowl operations. and soup to nuts, because like the game day operations for the Super Bowl and everything you do to get up to that point, the precision is unbelievable. I mean, it's sometimes by the second on the sheet. It's really amazing. But yeah, that's our experience. So I'm excited to share all of it with you from the perspective of a fan, and then maybe a little bit of access. Like I think I'm going to get a media pass to go over on the Thursday. Although now that I'm thinking about it, Thursday's probably not a good day. Maybe Wednesday we'll do that. We got some stuff going on Thursday night. It'll be a lot of fun. So let me know what you'd like to know about. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, share. I'm trying to think of what else you can do that would help the video and the channel get more exposure. I love sharing everything about the French Quarter with folks, and this is a super special time for us here. Take care.